What's up, baby dolls? We're going to speak about giants today. A very interesting topic. You know, friends, when you explore UFOs, Anunnaki, aliens, they're not even really alien, right? They've been here the whole time. There are multiple dimensions. We know all these. Of course, we know all these. We can't interpret all of them because they were just monkeys in a zoo. Of course we are, friends. Like, have you ever seen those Chinese scientists? They dress up as a panda and they go feed the pandas. You've seen them, right? This is it. They dress up as pandas like, hey, we're here to feed you. We are pandas as well. We are totally not humans. You see that, friends? It's kind of like cute. Like looking at, hey, I'm definitely a panda. So it's interesting, right? We know humans, we do that as well. So we dress up as pandas and monkeys. We send little robot monkeys to go and inhabit basically another ecosystem. Not to scare them, to give them an ontological shock. Well, that's changing species. What about our own species? We do the same thing, right? Look at the Sentinels, which is that little island off India where they basically still haven't discovered like electricity, or they haven't been inhabited by humans for like, whatever, thousands of years. They're still really basically stuck in the old ages. And these are it right now. You're on Sentinel Island, right? So these guys, the drones, the Sentinels, they come, they do like these things. There's been some obviously rare events. I think they killed one guy. So the Sentinels, right? Oh man, there was one missionary guy, Christian guy. I'm very unfortunate. He was warned like 10 times. Don't go there. He ends up getting on a little sailboat, goes in, they shoot arrows at him, and then he actually goes in there and they basically kill him. They also got wiped out a lot, I believe, because yes, they can't handle basically our bacteria and stuff. Okay, now you hear all that. And friends, trust me, every time I come across something, I was like, yeah, I can't buy that one. Always starts like that. But then you just hear too many stories and you're like, man, if the other stuff was true, why can't this be true? Right? The reptilian one, that one when I was like, okay, definitely that's not real. I'll show you the reptilian videos. We see some shape-shifting. Like, it's on camera, man. Friends, YouTube, I played for you the banned video on YouTube. They've shadow banned it on YouTube. Now, they can't full ban it. Why? Because if they full ban it, it goes viral. They know if they ban it, right? Hey, YouTube banned this. That means someone in the headquarters was told, remove this shape-shifting video so that people don't know what's going on. But then we come to the story of giants. Now, here's the thing, friends. When you're young, you're watching Neil deGrasse Tyson, right? You're like, ooh, cosmic soup. That's how Neil deGrasse Tyson talks. Right? Now, Neil deGrasse Tyson, one thing always strikes me is when he would speak about, because, well, there's limitations of humans and how we grow. And basically the laws of physics. That's how he talks, right? He says, we can't grow after a certain height because your knees can't support it. So he basically says, well, that's why all these like mythical Starship Troopers and, Star Trek, whatever, big alien bugs, they're all fiction. They can never exist. You can't have giant creatures like that because their knees would collapse amongst themselves, okay? So he's like, and then I'll kind of tell you that the US government has a long history of having scientific paid shields who are science communicators to kind of keep the population down and say, and to try to tell you that stuff, okay? Then you come across giants. Now, giants are in the Bible. They're in actually many ancient texts, but you think like giants, what does it really mean, right? I remember the story of David and Goliath, whoosh, shooting the giant slingshot, big fat green candle rock straight into Goliath's eyes, right? You remember the story of Goliath? Now, I think I remember in the Bible, friends, I remember this when I was a young kid. So I think he was 6 cubits tall. And I think a cubit was about 50 centimeters. So something ain't right already. They're saying Goliath is like 3 meters tall. And you're thinking, it's an imagination story. And you're just a kid, man. You don't know anything. You're like, yeah, David and Goliath, woohoo. And the teachers are always like, sometimes we like describe things because we really want to get the point across that it was big. He's as tall as a building. It doesn't really mean he's that tall. Okay. Then you come across the Y-Files, okay? And friends, this is an amazing video. This is from the Smithsonian's Biggest Secret. So there have been, okay, there have been people, friends, they've actually found out, okay, they've actually found giant skeletons. Now, I don't know if this one's real. This might just be like, you know, the Photoshop ones, but they actually have found these giant humans, all right? Now, it's just interesting, man, because they find this stuff and it's written about in the Bible. They basically say, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, fans, they're like descendants, they're fallen angels. Everybody's familiar with that, right? You talk about the fallen angels, the Nephilim. And man, there are even in, you know, the American Indians, they even have it. It's not even like secret. They're like, yeah. There was a tribe of giants. Friends, in Americana, there's a land out there. I forgot where it is. American Indian land. They basically have, it's either there or Mexico. Forgot. Somewhere in Americana or Mexico. There was this girl. She had been told the oral story. She was like one of the last remaining members of a tribe, and she said that, yeah, it was handed down. They have very vivid descriptions of the last remaining giants from the area. This is what chipped me out. They knew that the giants was a giant family, okay? And when I'm talking about giant, I think it's over 3 meters tall. It could be like 3 meters. I think maybe 12 feet or something. And they lived in a big cave. They lived in a cave, and they were red hair. Interesting. They were rangers. That was interesting. Now, here's the thing, right? She said what happened to them was they basically died in a fire. Researchers go and actually find this mound sitting on a hill, and there's actually a cave inside. And they check it, and this is the craziest part. There were big bones in there, now gone, and there was evidence of a fire inside the cave. You know, and I read this story. It's actually in this documentary. It's in here, the Y-Files, right? So there are these stories that appear, and they always get basically removed. I find that fascinating that it appears, and there's all these dozens of stories about giants, and like, because friends, you know, I'm playing all the PlayStation games. You guys I'm playing games as a kid. There's always a giant there, you know, and you just think, oh, it's a giant. It's fantastical, you know, from all the movies and the shows. But I'm like, what? I just thought these things were just like people's imaginations. Hey, just to make everybody bigger, see what happens, right? No, there's a lot of these things. Big bones, like enormous bones found, and not, hey, this guy was pretty tall, but beyond the growth hormone, big bone, right? And yes, these types of stories, you hear one, you hear two, you go, all right, bro, we're on story number 25. What's happening now? Giants roaming the earth. I think they live with one another. I think they lived with humans, probably. I think that's what I've heard a lot, but somehow they got wiped out. Don't know why. You know, friends, over time in humanity, there's a couple of things that happen, right? You have famine and droughts. And maybe there's heat waves. And then obviously, if you're large, just to let everyone know from science, the larger you are, the more energy and food you need to eat. And so you can't survive as well. You can't survive as well. So friends, you know, in New Zealand, right? If you check out New Zealand, the Maori Island in New Zealand land, friends, obviously all the way here. So in the world, New Zealand, right? Look how tiny it is, Maori Island and stuff. Well, basically, this is the world map, okay? This is the world map. And what's interesting is, if we go in, it turns out that everyone here, friends, you know their body mass index, everybody in New Zealand, it's off the chart, okay? I think it's 99% of the population's overweight, according to like World Health Standards. Like their body mass index is huge, okay? Big Maoris, big Islanders. And after a lot of research, they basically found out that like thousands and thousands of years ago, probably like hundreds of thousand plus years ago, the water from Australia to like Polynesia and stuff, it was shallow. So what ended up happening was the islanders in New Zealand, they were the genetically gifted ones because they could go all the way from like Philippines and Indonesia, Polynesia, and they could basically sail, or not, maybe not sail, they could like cross when the sea was shallow, and they didn't need much food. And what I mean by that, well, the low body fat, low fat storing genes, they got wiped out. Because if you were going to go like 10 days without food, then the people who could eat and store fat the most, they're the ones who would be able to survive and reproduce. And so they make it to New Zealand Island. And that's why in New Zealand, Maori, all the big Maoris, they're huge. They've got big bones, right? Very high, what we call body fat, body mass index. But that's because they were the fittest, they were the strongest. And all the other ones that couldn't make it, they basically got obviously wiped out over time. So it's interesting, right? Because it all matches up with all the geology and geography and stuff. The sea was low enough for them to cross. You see these things over time. So your mind gets blown as you discover these things that's basically happening, right? And then also you get to learn, like I just mentioned for you as well, in Africa, like there used to be humans, our brains used to be big at one point, right? And we actually used to be taller. Yeah, we used to have bigger bones and stuff. It's just that in the heat of Africa, the bigger you are, you sweat more, perspiration they call it, and harder to get food and like basically drink water and survive when there's all these heat waves. So we've gone through a lot. Now, the giants, I guess it makes sense, right? You guys got wiped out over time. But then there's some mystery, man. There's some mystery, friends, because we find the big bones and then the US government sends a freaking black helicopter and they come in, they take the bones, they ship it to America. There's actually a big warehouse in America they keep shipping it to. There's all these stories, friends. And then basically they block off the caves and they say, hey, radioactive material or whatever it is. They're like, hey, you get in here, you're dead. And they zip it out. Now, I was always wondering, like, why hide the giants? Like, what could you possibly, like, why hide that part, And there's obviously a good reason. We don't know, right? Could it be hiding where we actually came from, right? That could be it. Maybe it's too close to our origin. But that's, it's, I guess it's up for them to decide. Maybe one day we'll find out. I'm going to play for you this clip, friends, from Praveen. And he's on Danny's podcast. Actually really interesting. Let's go. Listen to this.
100 years ago in the US. Do you know how many newspaper clippings are there that talk about giant skeletons found in the US?
No.
Oh, you don't know?
How many?
Oh my God, thousands.
Really?
Yep. Newspaper clippings of giant skeletons found in the US. We got thousands.
And you're saying that it was hidden?
Yeah. Yeah, there are books written about this. If you just Google newspaper clippings, you can still find. I've posted a few. We can find thousands. Google used to have. If you just go to images, probably.
Go to images.
You've probably find a lot. Yeah, there you go. These are all real newspaper clippings. These are not doctored. These are real newspaper.
So, friends, I'm just going to pause it here just so we can appreciate the type of clippings you have here, right? So you have. They actually zoom in a few soon, and we'll probably read another one. When giants roam the earth, giant skeleton found, right? So you have 8 feet tall, right? Giant human skeletons, 10 to 12 feet tall, found in Mexican cave. Giant skeletons, men's 8 feet tall ones, roamed in local forests. And like, there's hundreds of these. Kind of like, yeah, this type of stuff happened. It's kind of like the early UFO sighting stuff and alien visitation stuff. There actually is, friends, like, hey, a giant egg landed out in the middle of a farm, and I took this dude and I kind of like did some like semen extraction thing on him. True story, a couple of them happened. And they're like, yeah, we'll just write about it, and that's it. But now I guess there's more. Now they really got to brainwash everybody in terms of like making sure we don't have ontological shock. Let's continue.
Clippings.
And these were so giant human-like skeletons were found up close to as recent as 100 years ago when giants roamed. Okay.
Yeah, the newspaper clippings are like 100 years old.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so if you typically look at like newspapers published 100 years ago, they're always publishing. Oh, we found giant skeletons when.
Okay, friends, I just want to read this. Check this out. In 1814, in Saint Gernard was found the tomb of the giant Isolent, who was not less than 30 feet high. Man, like, friends, see this, it's just, why would, like, come on, man, like, we're beyond, we know something's going on now, you know what I mean? We know something's going on, we know. Clearly, they don't want us to know, there's obviously some answers there. It really is, okay? 30 feet tall? How big's his willy? Right? Even on the top right. In 1623, near the castle in Dauphine, a tomb was found 30 feet long, 16 feet wide, and 8 feet high. on which were cut in grey stone the words Kentolochus Rex. Wow, the skeleton was found entire and measured 25 feet high. His shoulders were 10 feet. Oh my gosh, friends. See, this is crazy. By the way, crazy history fans. If you go listen to everybody who does all the research in here, a lot of them, they come from like ancient Persia, Babylonian stuff. They're all there's the king's ruler list. I forgot the name. Right, we can look it up. I've got to make a video on it one day. They basically have all these years that kings have ruled in like Persia and Babylonia or whatever, somewhere there, and it was the Middle East. And the craziest part is there's a lot of human rulers. They're like, oh, this guy ruled for 25 years. This guy's 40 years. This guy's 6 years, right? But it actually has years where it goes, oh, this guy ruled from the year 1200 to 2400. Next one, this guy ruled for 1,000 years. This guy ruled for 400 years, right? Just like straight out. So obviously they knew their maths. They weren't going nuts, right? So a lot of people believe these are obviously some sort of non-human thing. That's why a lot of people have these theories. Hey, were we genetically modified for our telomeres? Obviously our friends, our telomeres, I think we have telomeres that basically like our cells die pretty fast. That's why a lot of the speculation is like humans, we're like made to be these slaves. We're like these tiny little batteries, like our lives are so short. But you never really know the context in that, Is it by design? Do we get reset to go somewhere else? Because you have every single type of speculation. Some people believe, oh, it's like the Matrix. Oh, we're all batteries being farmed, whatever. And there's other people who believe, no, this is just part of civilization advancing and it's all pre-programmed as a script. I don't know. But you do know something's going on here, right? Let's continue.
When they excavated this mound, right? All over. We're not talking about one state. We're not talking about one newspaper company. We're saying this is found. Yeah, look at that. 1919, 18 feet tall, Austin, Texas. You'll
June
find
14th.
them. You'll find them in Florida. You'll find them in California. You'll find them everywhere. Right, but where are they now? Why are they not found?
Right, yeah. Why do you think it's not talked about now?
What do you think will happen if they do talk about it?
Yeah, that's a good question. Why?
If you're an archaeologist and you do find a giant skeleton, right, 10 feet tall, would you tell this to the world?
Hell yeah, I would.
You wouldn't. You would be out of that archaeology degree and your position in a week. If you do,
if I came out and I made the
they
world
would kick you out.
aware of a 16-foot tall skeleton,
you would become the next Edward Snowden. You'd have to run out. You'd become the next Julian Assange. At least you'd become the next Graham Hancock, right? They would ostracize you, man. If you come out like that, if you find the evidence of a 10-foot tall giant, and if you do tell the public, you are going to be kicked out of your archaeological job and your degree, and you would be called a pseudoscientist and a conspiracy theorist, and you'd be ostracized. That's what's going to happen to you if you do that, right? Look, what do people say? Let's say you did spot a UFO, right? Right. And if you do, let's say you even took a video of this, and if you come out and say, I spotted a UFO, this is the evidence, 50% of the people are going to call you a liar.
Right. But 50% are also going to believe, I think probably maybe a little bit more nowadays.
Yes, but that's only because you're a regular guy. But what happens if you're a pilot flying an airplane? You'd be kicked out of your job. But yeah.
You think?
I would think.
Even the pilots that came out and talked about the UFOs, they didn't get fired.
Maybe. But see, they
got definitely questioned.
Yeah. Look, I mean, look, there are instances, I forgot the name of that guy who came out and he talked about giant skeletons. He was an archaeologist. And that guy was called a liar and he was fired. Yeah.
What year was that?
I don't know.
And we're saying giant. That thing's not really giant. That one that we just looked at. But like you're saying that one said there were 16 footers. Like that picture right there, that's nuts.
A lot of these.
That's Photoshopped, right?
No, this is a real photo.
This is a real photo.
1761.
Yeah, but that could easily be. I mean, Yao Ming's that tall.
That's gigantism.
Yeah.
If you really want to know about the giant skeletons, you have to search giant mound builders. Oh, you gotta see
Skeletons.
skeletons here.
Whoa.
Sorry.
Giant mound builder. Look at that. That's fake, right?
With
That's
modern
fake.
AI, you can,
No, that was there even before. Yeah,
this is that same photo.
that's
It was like a
that's in the
dwarf.
medical museum, I think.
Yeah, and then
Yeah, no, I've never heard of this. I've definitely never heard of this.
There's an entire book written by Jim Vieira and Hugh Newman. They talk about giant mound builders of America. This is Jim Vieira. He's in Boston, Massachusetts. And he talked about the giant mound builders, and he came on a TED Talk, man. And
Really?
that TED Talk was banned.
No way.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was banned. You know this.
Why would they ban it? It seems like it's a fun thing to talk about. I don't understand. I don't understand how the deep state would be offended by giants or reptilians. Well, maybe reptilians, because it's probably reptilians running the whole thing, right?
Well, that'd be a stretch, but I'm saying that,
Damn it.
Yeah, it would be a stretch. If only there was maybe a sign that the US government was maybe banning YouTube videos that showed some weird shape-shifting shit going on. Can't figure it out, friends.
Yeah. The giants thing is weird. What? Like why? Like what?
Look at that. That's really interesting.
What is? What is it?
If you go to Wikipedia, right, giant
human-
skeletons
click on it,
recorded in
yeah.
the U.S. right are a combination of hoaxes, scams,
And
fabrications, and the misidentifications of extinct megafauna.
Just to let you know, friends, as well, Google censored, and so is Wikipedia. Very unfortunate, right? They start off open source and everything, but there's a lot of editing. They don't know how to do it. So I wonder one day we're gonna get real information stuff. Maybe crypto is the future to be able to provide such an information database like that. We'll see. Let's continue.
Right? But now, if you go and if you say Pittsburgh giant skeletons newspaper.
More than 10,000. Oh.
Probably deleted even off of YouTube. And if you go to image, yeah, there you go.
Images, okay.
Yep.
All right. Let's see what we got here. Relief
Parlay, not yet fixed. Huh.
Not that one.
That's the wrong one.
Not that one.
Skeletons of giants
yeah.
found.
There you go.
There's one. Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, PA, 2 petrified skeletons, one of a man of giant stature and other of a woman somewhat smaller, were found in a cavern blasted out.
Click on that 2 giant skeletons. That's probably me. Yeah. There you go. Click on that. That result is even deleted from YouTube, man. That's me, by the way. And look at that.
Of giant mound builders who lived centuries
Wow.
And
10,000 years ago?
Look below.
49 skeletons found.
Yeah, and look at the text below. That's a real newspaper clipping that I took from Google newspapers. There's there used to be, Google used to archive all the newspapers. I think it's gone now. But that's a real newspaper clipping that says 49 skeletons found.
How about that, friends? Man, that sucks. Google doesn't even let you go through old newspapers anymore because people were finding all like the first time reports, UFOs, reptilian stuff, giants, and Google was obviously given the word. Take it off. Such a censorship heavy type of thing, man. Let's continue.
And you know who did the excavation? It was done by an archaeologist.
Really?
Yep, that's a real newspaper, man. If people say, "Oh, this is a hoax or it's fabricated," they can go because I mentioned the date. I mentioned the
49
newspaper. They can
skeletons.
go there.
And you can find this.
Yeah.
They sure are good at covering stuff up, man.
Well, I mean, this is a theory, right? Unless you want to say, "Oh,
Is this video suppressed on YouTube?
I don't think so. I mean, usually my videos won't come up unless you search for them. But you can see this is like 49
Oh,
skeletons.
see that friend there? He's like, yeah, come on, bro. They know. They've been watching you. You went viral. By the way, he's been making videos since 2013. I saw in his podcast as well. He's been making videos since 2013. And you know what he does, friends? Praveen, what he does? He went to India. He would spend weeks in a single temple. He went through every single temple in India and he wrote down and he made a big database with a team of all the depictions, stories and all the things written from all the temples, and they're just finding a lot of stuff. They 5,000 years ago, ancient Indians had a lot of knowledge. They knew basically more things about animals. I think there are UFO sightings. There's flying ships. There's people with helmets. Like, come on, man. It's very obvious, friends. We're being kept in the dark on purpose because there's something they don't want us to know.
Commotion. Here.
That's a lot.
That's a state archaeologist, right? I show this and I say, oh, this is G.S. Fisher.
What is the idea about the giant skeletons? What how do they tie into all this stuff?
Yeah, no,
Where do you think they came from? Like what time do you think they came from? If they're real, which according to these newspapers that they are.
they're just
When do you think they lived?
giants. They're just a subspecies of humans, I think. Well, mentioned in the Bible is Nephilim.
Nephilim, yeah.
And Raphaim and other, you know those? They're
The Nephilim,
multiple.
well, the Nephilim and the Anunnaki, I think they come
and
from
there's also
Sumerian
like
tablets.
Raphaim mentioned in the Bible, I think, and there's other in Hindu texts also. They're mentioned, and they're kind of they're a combination of humans and other species, and they're giant. And it was once believed, you know this, right? This is the funny part. You know who spoke about the giants building the mounds of America? Abraham Lincoln. Google it.
Really? Shut up.
Yeah. Yeah, Abraham Lincoln was as big a conspiracy theory as I am, man. There you go. The eyes of that species of extinct giants, whose bones fill the mounds of America, have gazed on Niagara as ours do now. Abraham Lincoln, 1848. Okay?
So Abraham Lincoln believed the giants were real. They were
Yep.
extinct species of subspecies of humans.
Yep. He believed that the giants built the mounds of America, right? No matter what Wikipedia tells you today, unless they want to say Abraham Lincoln was trying to spread fake news,
He was a
right?
conspiracy theorist.
That's a direct quote from Abraham Lincoln, right?
Well, friends, it makes sense, right? Because Wikipedia, they keep asking for money every year. So it would not be surprising where, a couple of the deep staters, right? Or whoever they are, part of the 300 people, those families, someone obviously went up to them and they're like, hey, you need money? I got all the money in the world, but you got to let us in for some regulatory control methods. And obviously they got to wipe out their stuff. It's nuts. It's nuts. Is it nuts? Not really. It's not crazy, man. It's not crazy, friends. People are literally genital mutilation, self-mutilation today. You are actually surprised when they say, we can't give you the anti-gravity tech because you're going to blow each other up. You're already chopping off your own willies, right? You're giving drugs to kids that are kind of like a bit too young to be like touching them. You see what I mean, friends? Like, it's very easy to see this world. By the way, you live on that island. I live on this island. I want to kill you. That's literally humans pretty much summarize 5,000 years of that. You see, this barbaric type of stuff, it does make sense when you think about it. And as well, look at everybody that lost their mind in the zombie virus. You see what they did to our crypto market? They dumped the shit out of Bitcoin out here. You think they won't lose their absolute freaking minds if an alien comes out and takes a big fat dump on Joe Biden's head? You know what I mean? So, look, you look at it in isolation, okay, it's a nutcase. Friends, I always think about it like this. I go, you know what? I hear something once, 1% chance. 1% odds. Then you hear it another 10 times. You're like, you know what? I'm up to 5% now. Then you hear it another 100 times. Different stories, everything put in here. You know what? I think I'm feeling like a 20% chance this thing is real. Guess what, friends? Everything that we go through, all my UFO videos, I love them with all my heart. I'm just telling you now, man. Look, a lot of people sometimes say, oh, it's too spooky and it's too crazy. I'm like, bro, guess what? There are 100 crazy things here. 100 life-changing, dimension-shifting, mind explosion stuff. There's 100. Assume 99 of them are fake. Assume literally you are being psyops in 99% of them. That still leaves one earth-shattering, mind-blowing piece of information that changes the fabric of society. Because we've gone through 100. One of them's real somewhere. Is it the reptile dudes? Is it the Anunnaki ones? Is it the underwater UFOs? Is it, aliens, the light species, all these deep state These are all the blood sacrifices, the pedo rings, all these other things. Are they all real, man? I'm leaning more towards on the side of... See, Vance, there's a common theme with a lot of these. The common theme is, okay, you can only walk so far and then go, all right, something is going on. We're not being told. But then you stop there. You know 100% something's going on. I'll bet my life on it. I'll bet all 3 of my testicles on it. Something's going on. And you probably will too. It's very obvious after seeing all that. But then you get the spectrum of people's speculation. Okay, it's just like in markets. Some people believe the greatest times are ahead. Other people believe it's the end of times. Okay? Maybe it's something in between. Or maybe it's hard to measure in between. But you do get to see the speculation. You believe, obviously, there's people who come in who say, it's all evil and we're all like human batteries and they're all being harvested and they're consuming humans and they're sucking out our blood. That's a lot of like anti-reptile people to say that. You see here one end, and other people on the other end saying it was always like this and we may as well just give up now, or they're like benevolent forces, or this is just a natural part of basically a long chain of maybe, you know, advancing civilization and stuff. So either way, you can't control it. Can't control it, really. You're like, oh, okay, sweet, we're meant to live longer. All right, maybe your soul goes somewhere else. Okay, yada, 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 yada. All I know is, all I can control is, do I play the rat race of everyone being a slave? Do I want to play that rat race? I personally don't, and you don't either, friends. That's why it does come back down to the money printer. You know, all of these things with the government, all comes back to the money printer. That's why crypto is the greatest gift of all. It literally is the greatest gift of all. We've actually been able to use technology now. You know, Satoshi, friends, he literally said, finally, we can use technology to liberate mankind. Satoshi's words himself. Okay, so now he's like, we can make a triple accounting ledger system that they can't screw up. And if you want to use it, you can. You see, friends, they don't know all these. You go speak to all these other people, everyone understands the money printer. I always found it fascinating. Every single person who understands the money printer, you speak to them privately, they're like, oh yeah, my friend was in the army, UFOs are totally real, I believe all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. They know everything, but it's like literally 65%. It's like an overwhelming majority, okay? It's just hard, the communication part, because a lot of people, there's this personal judgments and all these. But you look at them, and you're like, man, you guys are so smart. You figured out the whole money printer, the underneath tax, how the government does everything. There's got to be something there. You know there's something there, okay? Can you and I do anything about it? Not really. We can, though, escape the rat race. That's what we're here for. Make sure you like, subscribe, belly button, or catch you in the next one.